Did the young men who were with Nolan Wells take and pass a polygraph test? And the key words are pass and polygraph test. That is a basic high school diploma question that a former law enforcement officer failed on a Nancy Grace show. He said it was just semantics between a voice stress analysis and a traditional polygraph test. I would say, no, sir, that's a huge difference and you should know better. If you listen to Brandon Tatum, that is the officer's name. You might have walked away believing the answer was yes. Tatum told Nancy Grace that from his understanding, but one of the young men had taken polygraph tests and that everyone who took one passed. That sounds definitive, doesn't it? It sounds like law enforcement placed these young men on polygraph machines, asked direct questions, and determined they were telling the truth. But Nancy Grace began asking follow-up questions in true Nancy Grace style. That story began to change. His voice went from confident to faded, and he began to fumble over his words. Today, we're going to separate what Brandon Tatum claimed from what was actually established. Welcome to Money and Politics Simplified, where we separate facts from speculation and demand accountability without abandoning due process. Please remember to like, follow, share, and comment. I'm Esco Latimer, and welcome to Money and Politics Simplified. One accurate word can completely change how millions of people understand a criminal investigation. And this is key. That's exactly why today's discussion matters. This episode isn't about proving Nolan's friends guilty. Let me be clear about that. It's about whether influential commentators like Brandon Tatum have a responsibility to accurately describe the evidence they are presenting to the public. And then we are going to simplify it so that even Brandon Tatum can understand it. During his appearance on Crime Stories with Nancy Grace, which I suggest you watch, Brandon Tatum was asked whether Nolan's friends had taken polygraph tests. He responded that from his understanding, which seems to be limited, nearly all of them had, and that they all had passed who took it. He emphasized that they reportedly cooperated with investigators and supposedly took the test without attorneys present. That created a powerful impression. Viewers weren't simply hearing denials from Nolan's friends. They were being led to believe those denials had been independently tested. Nancy Grace asked an important question. How did Brandon Tatum know this? Tatum acknowledged he was not present. Instead, he said the young men themselves had told him. He therefore could not independently verify what type of examination it was that occurred, who administered it, whether the examiner was qualified or not, what questions were asked, whether the questions addressed Nolan's death or not, or how any results were interpreted. That distinction matters, Brandon. Secondhand information should be presented as secondhand information. But that's not what Brandon did. Now, is it, everyone? As the interview continued, Tatum clarified that the procedure wasn't a traditional polygraph. After Nancy Grace pigeonholed him to a more accurate statement. Instead, he described it as a voice stress analysis. Brandon really didn't know the name of the test, as he confessed on the show. Those are different procedures. A traditional polygraph measures physiological responses such as breathing, blood pressure, heart rate. A voice stress analysis attempts to evaluate characteristics of a person's speech. Nancy Grace immediately recognized the difference between the two. When Brandon Tatum suggested that the distinction might simply be semantics, Nancy Grace gave him the weird face and rejected that explanation. She was right to distinguish between two different procedures. Words matter, everyone, especially during an active death investigation. Brandon was being reckless, in my opinion. What has actually been confirmed? Here's what we know. Authorities have confirmed that Nolan's friends were interviewed. Authorities have confirmed the investigation remains active even to this day. But there has been no public confirmation from law enforcement that Nolan's friends actually took or passed a conventional polygraph exam or any examinations. Likewise, there has been no publicly released report confirming the voice stress examination Brandon Tatum described. We have not seen this, and this is extremely important. Examiner's report, qualifications, questions asked, complete recordings, scoring methodology, official investigative conclusions. At this point, those claims remain unverified at best. This isn't about declaring anyone guilty. Let me be clear about that. A person should never be accused without evidence. You could destroy someone's life or livelihood like that, but protecting someone from unsupported accusation does not require accepting unsupported claims that appear clear to them. The same evidence standard must apply both ways. Brandon Tatum may personally believe the young man, and that's okay. He's entitled to that opinion. But presenting their statements as established fact before independently verifying them creates a very different impression for the public, and that is important. Even a polygraph won't even end a investigation. If investigators confirm a polygraph had been administered, that still wouldn't solve Nolan's death. No truth verification procedure replaces phone records, GPS data, original audio, recordings, like the emergency sea towing companies call, boat information, videos, photographs, toxicology, autopsy findings, witness interviews, timeline, reconstruction without knowing the actual question. The public cannot know what any reported results truly means unless it's all put together. There are two dangerous extremes here. Let me point them out. One declares Nolan's friends guilty without sufficient evidence. The other appears determined to clear them before investigators finish their work. Neither approach serves Nolan well as the actual real victim in this case. Everyone is screaming victimhood who has a part in this case, but only Nolan remains dead. So let's stay focused on the real victim here, everyone. And that is Nolan Xavier Wells. Say his name. Nolan deserves evidence. His family deserves answers. His so-called friends deserve due process. Commentators deserve scrutiny when presenting information as fact. It's their job to verify the statements, and if they fail to do so, it is also their responsibility to correct the error. Access to witnesses does not transform their statements into independently verified evidence. Okay, so let's simplify this. Brandon Tatum initially told the public that nearly all of Nolan's friends took and passed polygraph tests. It wasn't until under questioning by Nancy Grace that he acknowledged he wasn't even present. He relied upon what the young men told him. He ultimately clarified that the procedure was actually a voice stress analysis. Law enforcement has not publicly confirmed conventional polygraph examinations or publicly released any reports regarding those alleged tests. Here's where I stand. Accuracy matters. Whether someone supports Brandon Tatum, Nancy Grace, Ben Crump, or anyone else, the same standard should apply equally to everyone. Don't exaggerate evidence. Don't minimize evidence. Don't call one procedure another. Don't present secondhand information as verified fact. Most of these are for Brandon Tatum. I hope he's watching. If we're going to demand justice for Nolan Wells, we must demand accuracy from everyone discussing his case. Fact first, evidence over influence, truth over narratives. What do you think? Should public commentators have a responsibility to verify information before presenting it as facts during an active and criminal investigation? Or is repeating what witnesses tell them enough? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, right here, folks. I'm Misled. Please remember to like, follow, share, and comment. This is Money and Politics Simplified. Stay informed, stay engaged, because when you understand the facts between Brandon Tatum's assumptions and actual evidence, which apparently is a former law enforcement, he doesn't even know, you understand the politics. Have a good night.
Talking money, talking power. Follow the paper and you find a throne. Deals in the back while the cameras roll. Who's funding fear? Who's buying hope? Who's pulling strings every time we vote? Money and politics, let's go. Breaking down the meetings behind the meetings. Pull up, turn it up, get wise. See the game through different eyes. Money and politics. Money and politics. that fast.